Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to the beginning of one last trip through Control, or at the very least, this particular iteration of the game. Now that Remedy has released the final DLC for the package, specifically AWE, standing for Altered World Event. This is a DLC that I have purposely kept myself in the dark, so to speak. Partially because I usually do that in general for things that I already know I'm going to experience. Like, I don't need to watch a trailer for a movie, I don't need to watch a trailer for a video game if I know I'm going to watch that movie or play that game. That way, everything that I see and everything that I experience is new. Now, there's definitely some advantage to watching trailers, to watching gameplay footage, because then you look at take that, because then you get to experience, you get to some idea as to what you're walking into. Like, I believe there have been already some changes. It's been so long since I've played the game that I have to relearn the buttons. For instance, how do I upgrade things again? That's shoot. That's launch. That's shield. Aim. How do I access my powers? I have no memory. Okay, give me a second. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, I remember. You access them from the fast travel point. They're supposedly increased, added a launch ability. But I don't see it here, so let us fast travel to... Yeah, we've already explored all of Foundation. This will probably require us to go back to Central Executive. I'm assuming that I have... Wait. I don't have the DLC downloaded. That was the problem the last time. So, hold up a minute. I'm going to get the DLC downloaded, restart the game. Alright. Now that I have properly downloaded the expansion, which technically I already had because all I had to do was sign on to the store and be like, yes, download this, and then it just ticked a box somewhere that said it has been downloaded. Okay. Investigate the sector elevator. Nope, that is not the map. That is also not the map. That is the map. Investigate the sector elevator. Alright. Sector elevator. I will be careful out there.
Engulfed the elevator. There was something there, reaching for her, trying to make her act. It was a distress call. Faden sensed a drowning man, a hunger in the dark. Investigation sector.
Investigation sector, huh? We should check this out.
You know, I wonder how this is going to carry out, because, like, I think fans of Alan Wake have always been kind of expecting a sequel that has never come. Like, is this meant to replace the sequel? Like, is this kind of like both an Alan Wake 2 and a Control expansion? Or is this kind of like a lead up to an Alan Wake 2? I won't find that answer if I don't actually take the elevator, so here I go. I suppose I could talk a little bit about how, because I have the original like one of the things that kind of has bothered me lately in regards to, I won't use this space for that. I'll cut this out. Okay. It is quite the dark space. I wonder how much of Alan Wake's gameplay is going to be coupled in with Control. Like, will I be also dealing with flashlight combat? Ooh. Where am I? Oh, I am way down there. Definitely seems like a big area. Hello? How are you guys doing? But here's the thing, though. Like, if Alan Wake is trapped somewhere, this building is technically connected everywhere. So it would, in theory, the oldest house would, in theory, be connected to anywhere that Alan is. Alright, let's take a look at this correspondence. Mr. Kirkland, we've stopped at Keystone on our way to the target AWE, like you asked. I'm sending my report directly to you to try and keep a lid on this Grumman Morales desertion issue. We didn't find any sign of them there. Given their records, it is possible they've switched teams like you suspected, but I don't think that's the case. An event definitely occurred here in Keystone, and I think Grumman and Morales got caught up in it. The entire population has vanished into thin air. Reminds me of the Ordinary case, but that was just the adults, if I'm remembering the file correctly. This is different. I think our guys are casualties, not traitors. If it was an AWE, it seems to be over. We walked through the whole town, and the only strange thing we noticed were markings on various buildings. 2 overlapped circles with a dot in the shared space. Could be unrelated. I'll show you the pictures when I get back. In the meantime, you should send a team out there to cordon the place off and maybe get the comms guys working on a cover story. Question. There is the possibility that they were traitors. They went to the other side. Who is the other side? Is there an alternate agency that would be Chaos? Here are our latest agent confirmed missing, presumed dead from the containment breach yesterday. Jonathan Connor, Ezra Cruz, Caroline Dempsey, Lindsay Malcolm, Charles Murray, and Derek Shaw. Letters of condolence will be delivered to you to sign prior to sending them to their families. You'll be updated as soon as additional confirmations are made. Also, per your request, a network engineer checked how many cases were backed up digitally. Unfortunately, a large number of active investigations were not archived yet, and the only hard copies of reports exist behind the firebreak. They're lost, I'm afraid.
Crowded than the rest of the bureau.
Okay, this is a lot of information that's kind of dumped right in the front. Per authorization of Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation was launched in the ethical practices of Dr. Casper Darling. Despite the accounts of Anonymous regarding inhumane treatment of a redacted currently housed in the Bureau, our official findings regarding this were inconclusive. Numerous obstacles arose during this investigation. The majority of redacted sector personnel seemed to be wholly unaware of any such redacted contained there. One redacted confirmed the redacted's codename to be redacted, but all files pertaining to that name were inaccessible, being classified on the highest clearance level. Investigators were similarly blocked from entering the redacted research wings to interview its staff. The matter was further complicated by the lack of clarity on whether non-human paranatural entities warrant humane treatment. That is an interesting question, pertaining really only to the setting of this game. Like, I guess it would all depend on, like, does it have... Can you determine the thing as having consciousness, awareness. Like the villains of the main game, of whom I do not remember at this time, they're more like a collective consciousness who are attempting to destroy us, so that's problematic. While investigation cannot address any charges against Dr. Darling, we do recommend an investigation into redacted research. You know, why are they spending so much money on redacted research? It's been redacted. You can't even look at the research. Mr. Dennis, a request came through recently from an FBI agent asking for our files on Bright Falls, specifically on the disappearance of the author, Alan Wake. Per the Interagency Information Exchange Agreement, I had some paper pushers gather a folder of all the pre-approved files. Don't worry, all the inappropriate material is either missing or redacted. But I'm writing to let you know that we received this request from a special agent named Alex Casey. Because that was... Alex... Yeah, it sounds familiar, right? That's because Alex Casey is the name of the fictional character, a fictional detective in those hard-boiled crime books Alan Wake wrote. Pretty interesting that an FBI agent sharing a name with the most famous character Wake wrote is looking into a case dealing with a writer's fiction coming true. I think this is worth looking into, but what's your opinion? Just give the word and I'll start surveillance on this guy. Which presents the idea that whether or not Alan Wake, while he was inside the darkness, Hiss nodes, it's the Hiss. That is what their names are. They are the Hiss. No, I don't want to... Oh my gosh. See, the problem is I have the same button is being used to activate the briefing and collect the collectible. Cauldron Lake update. It happened again. Third time this year. Something certainly has it out for our redacted. Could be raccoons. Locals certainly complain about them enough, but why the hell would raccoons keep going after a monitoring station? Doesn't add up. Anyway, I've got a bureau tech going to the site next week to take a look. Next on the list of recurring problems is the staff at the Lake House Research Station. How am I supposed to effectively keep an eye on Redacted Lake? What was the name of the lake in Alan Wake? If they won't let me see any data. Hell, I don't even know what they're researching out there. We need to petition them again to share their info with investigations agents. It's only a matter of time before this redacted hits again, and I want to be prepared. Anyway, if anyone at HQ asks why the Bright Falls report is a little thin this month, tell them it's because we couldn't take any readings. In the meantime, I might invest in some raccoon traps. That was Agent Estevez. If I remember correctly, Agent Estevez was one of the, if I remember correctly from what was mentioned like 2 seconds. Nope, Estevez is not one of the missing agents. And then what do we have here? More documentation. So much documentation. It's a good thing they document it so much, but still. So yes, there's an increase in AWE cases, and yes, it would be a good idea to put together a special task force to examine exactly why that is. However, it seems that a tiny little detail has slipped through the cracks. We don't have the damn staff. If you expect us to detect, investigate, and process more AWE cases, you need to give us more people. It's simple math. Between the staff we lost in the Hartman thing and the ones who left for other departments after Kirkland quit, we're barely managing to keep up with the workload. Hell, just filing the paperwork for all the altered items we left behind in the sector has been an ordeal. Another thing, and this is going to sound paradoxical, but we have an overcrowding situation. This lobby isn't meant to accommodate a whole sector's worth of staff. We put together a motion to move investigations to a more suitable location a month ago. It better not still be sitting on your desk. The people are getting restless, and as Kirkland's interim replacement, it's your job to handle it. All right.
It's not working. Probably a loose power core somewhere.
To whom it may concern, it is with great anger and regret that I tender my resignation as head of investigations for the Federal Bureau of Control. I do this in protest of the rampant disregard for my department's redacted. My staff cannot continue to work in these conditions. Previous requests and warnings have fallen on deaf ears, so I must now rely on my actions to speak louder than my words ever could. I blame this situation on our redacted, who has routinely ignored my request for assistance in reclaiming the parts of investigation sector lost to the redacted loose inside. I will never forget the screams of brave agents begging for us to open that firebreak. I will carry that shame for the rest of my days. The redacted has failed his agents. I shall never forgive him for that. Sincerely, William Kirkland. So basically, the reason why this place is empty and off the books is because the shit hit the fan. Supplementary materials. William Borrow, 33-year-old man found dead on his property per police report. Remains obtained for coroner's office also include blood, urine, bile, stomach contents, and bone fragments. Let's see, blunt force injuries, avulsion. Death is not the result of a mechanical accident. The removal of organs is consistent with an animal attack. Okay. So there's this path up here, which may lead to nothing, or it may just lead to a second floor that connects to the other path up. Let's see. A Frank Elk tractor, olive green, dried blood on the grill when last seen. Item is capable of vocalized responses or growls and unmanned locomotion. Considered highly aggressive and dangerous. The item first came to the Bureau's attention after the death of William Burrow, owner of a Burrow farm outside of Trenton, Texas. Local authorities arrived on the scene after an employee found the mutilated body of Mr. Burrow beneath his tractor. Police arrived, but were immediately drawn away by the tractor. Panic calls to the federal authorities were intercepted by Bureau communications staff. A team was dispatched. Upon arrival, the agents approached the item. It responded by growling like a bear. Okay, so it was the tractor that killed him, but the tractor had become an animal. Great. Speaking to Miss... Am I going to have to fight this tractor? Only revealed that she had a domestic altercation with Mr. Burr earlier the night of the incident. Whether these events are connected is currently unknown. I feel as though my mouth is going to get incredibly dry reading all of this. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation P-142-9 was launched into the legality of the Prime Candidate Program by the Federal Bureau of Control. Yeah, the Prime Candidate Program is a bit iffy. Since all known subjects relevant to the investigation used executive privilege to decline interviews, very little first-hand information was gathered. However, anonymous sources and documentation declassified by Mr. Kirkland both paint an alarming clear picture of systematic redacted and redacted were brought into the oldest house and placed under redacted examination and testing with the aim of appointing one as director upon maturity. This program has produced no successful cases and only resulted in the traumatic redacted of paranaturally inclined redacted. Well, now it's not true. There is now one successful case. Not only is this a breach of the Ash Act, but it flies in the face of basic human redacted. Why did they redact probably the word rights? This investigation team unequivocally redacted the Prime Candidate Program and recommends that it be redacted immediately. Did they redact the word redacted? Okay, let's grab... Oh, no. You know, flying has always been kind of tricky in this game. How much... Like, it's interesting in how it's different, but there's still a little bit of a learning curve. And by a little bit of a learning curve, I mean there's a learning curve. Dr. Raya Underhill is a professor at the University of Woodrow in the United Kingdom, where she teaches biology with a focus on botany. Dr. Underhill worked with the Bureau as a parabotanist stationed in the research sector of the oldest house, which would explain why you can talk to plants. She served with no incidents or demerits and is praised by those who formerly worked with her, including Dr. Darling. Dr. Underhill has no known connections to paracriminal organizations or any record breaching her NDA since leaving the Bureau. Her civilian behavior has been ideal, with the exception of an ongoing personal relationship with Dr. Darling that appears to have begun during their time as co-workers in the research sector and revisited intermittently ever since. Depending on the duration of her work in the oldest house, it may require to have both parties sign a relationship clearance form. This investigation has found no compelling reason to deny Dr. Darling's request to offer Dr. Underhill an interim position with the aim of finding a solution to the mold threshold issue. That's something that the story doesn't really talk about that much. The main game kind of glosses over the presence of the mold, and especially like the sewage. Like, it's there, but you never really quite delve into it. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, Redacted was launched into the Redacted of director Zachariah Trench, who begins the game dead. A recent change in Redacted witness in Director Trench, a recent change in behavior, including aggressive Redacted when redacted, with other staff being observed. However, this investigation is aimed at interpreting this issue rather than proving it. Notable Redacted between Director Trench and Dr. Darling has been witnessed by numerous Bureau staff, although both declined to meet for an interview on the matter. Witness accounts suggest their arguments center around the Dimensional Research Wing and the Redacted kept inside. However, no evidence exists to confirm Director Trench's Redacted as anything more than interpersonal disagreements. This investigation has concluded that Director Trench's behavior is not indicative of any Redacted, and that his fitness to lead is not in question. Which refers more specifically to when Director Trench was starting to be controlled by the hiss. Oh, hold on, what have we here? Dodge efficiency. In theory, I will be able to get new stuff that's cool. Right now I've got launch energy cost, health recovered on launch hits, and health. I'm going to deconstruct everything that is level 3 or lower. Actually, hold on, what is that? Yeah, 6% on launch hits, 5% on melee hits. That way I'll have room to pick up new stuff. Okay. And then we got one more collectible. Kirkland, I'm growing tired of your blatant attempts to lay your competence at my doorstep. I know you want this to be true, but you are head of investigations. This failure is your responsibility. What do you think would happen holding a dangerous specimen investigations? The containment sector exists for a reason. They are better trained and better equipped for this type of work. In fact, they have admirably taken on certain AWE monitoring responsibilities that your staff are no longer capable of. This happens more and more now. And don't think your petty internal investigations have gone past my notice. You are a worm. Everything I've done has been for the benefit of the Bureau. The Prime Candidate program only failed because of Darling. You are both failures plotting against me. You are traitors, but the truth will emerge out of you. You're choosing to become my enemy, Kirkland. You don't want to be. Yes, I presume that at this point, Trench had definitely started losing it. Let's grab you from over there. Can I grab you from over there? Yes, I can. Okay. And... there we go. A lot of reading in just a very short span of time. Not all of it necessarily dealing with the AWE. Not necessarily all of it dealing with the expansion. A lot of it kind of dealing with kind of like a tail end of the a prologue section. What happened before Jesse showed up. The purpose of internal investigation is to examine the containment failure of specimen SI-1 that resulted in the deaths of redacted agents. An inspection report of the containment equipment 3 days earlier showed no faults. Is this what killed off the 5 or 6 agents? Investigators suspect human error to be the cause, yet no department has provided any evidence to support this. Technicians were able to recover the researchers' notes on the specimen from the internal network. On the redacted of redacted, the specimen began displaying a sharp increase in aggressive redacted. Cross-referencing that date with various logs found only 2 events inconsistent with the sector's daily routine. The air filters were changed, and an hour prior to the incident, a civilian named Alice Redacted entered the sector regarding an unrelated investigation. Given their connection to the same AWE case, it is likely that Mrs. Redacted's presence is relevant to the specimen's escape and to the redacted. Investigation is ongoing. Are they talking about the tractor? Or are they talking about something else? But either way, let us claim this control point. Okay, yeah, nothing changed here. I could spend way too much of my currency to...
I'm no detective, but something definitely happened here.
How did you figure that one out? And then we got a little bit more reading. The Blessed Organization. This group individual has operated outside of the Bureau's notice for decades, perhaps longer, displaying a level of skill and caution rarely seen in paracriminal groups. Our review of past cases has found various mentions of their activity over the years. In 2016, a production company called Blessed Pictures was connected to an altered item case, as well as the death of an agent from exposure to illicit paranatural materials, which is probably the same case that resulted in the camera from the previous DLC. In 1994, a Los Angeles-based public speaker named Chester Bless was involved in the illegal use of an altered item. In 1988, a business called Blessed Repair and Service was suspected of involvement with an object of power case, perhaps even creating it. None of these businesses or individuals have ever been located. However, their connection to appearances of altered items and objects of power is too direct to be considered circumstantial. An arrest order has been issued for any persons believed to be involved with the Blessed Organization. Or Blessed. The Blessed Organization. 1, 2, 3.
Do we know each other? This feels familiar. I can't seem to... I've forgotten it. I'm sorry. My name is Alan Wake.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention that the same voice actor who voices Casper Darling in Control also voices Alan Wake, so it's... Will there be an eventual time where the two characters will meet each other? That's Alan! Is that Mr. Scratch?
Who are you?
friend Tom. Tom Zane. There's nothing to worry about.
Tom. The poet. The diver. You look different.
That was just a role. A character. The protagonist I played in my old film. I'm a filmmaker. An auteur like yourself. We're working on this together, remember? An artistic collaboration. You need a drink.
Night Springs. Oh, no, there was just a brief image of Dr. Darling there on the TV. On some days you stare into the darkness, but in Night Springs, the darkness stares into you.
Very close now. You've been writing. You found a way to escape. It'll work this time.
Riding.
He found a way.
No. I don't... Wait. There's something. It's my double. He's out there. I see it.
Yeah. Nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
It's fine, my friend. Let me handle him.
You've met him? What the hell?
Now, come on. You misunderstand me.
So his double, Mr. Scratch, would still, I guess, exist somewhere? Possibly
That was
wearing the
Alec,
face of
the
Zane?
writer who went missing in that AWE case I read about. What's he doing here?
That is an excellent question.
Zane was with him. The poet. No, wait. He was a filmmaker. I always remember that wrong.
Hold on. What part of that changed? Because Thomas Zane was originally a poet, but then he wrote himself out of existence. So if people remember him as being a filmmaker... Huh. What is the deal with this section of hotel? Oh. Am I just turning off electronics? Getting rid of the white noise, so to speak. Sometimes it's hard to tell what these motel puzzles require of you. Also, a friend of mine would call these packages of pistachios and potato chips like government brand. Huh? Hello? Was that the key?
Dr. Emil Hartman, devoured by hungry darkness, became the thing that... Dr. Emil Hartman was desperate. The Federal Bureau of Control had stolen his life's work. This was his last chance, his final experiment. What he'd been too scared to do before. Hartman dove into the lake, was taken, devoured by hungry darkness, became the thing that had been Hartman. Only an echo of him remained, fragmented impulses on autoplay.
The thing that had been Hartman definitely sounds like a Stephen King villain.
In the lake, the thing was captured by the FBC, brought in, contained, studied. The thing broke loose, killed everyone it could,
And I feel like the reason why I feel that way is because of the lack of clarity in the name. Like, labeling the thing by a different, more specific name
Then something else came.
would not be something King would do. Like, King would have people reference to that creature as the thing that used to be Hartman.
If there's one, why not another? The darkness inside the thing could have been immune, could have resisted, fought, could have been passed by, passed through with no effect. But it didn't, and it wasn't. Maybe it had grown weaker over time, not aged. It was timeless, but weaker with no link to its source. A metamorphosis followed. The thing that had been Hartman went through another change. Been Hartman.
So it seems that whatever
Everyone it could. Lurking.
whatever specimen had been contained within
The thing that had been Hartman.
the investigations area
Another change.
likely was spawned by Alan Wake from his darkness. If I had to guess. But still, what is the thing that was Hartman? So it would have to be like some sort of creature twisted, like a human being twisted by the darkness itself. Either way, we have opened up the path into the investigation sector. That took a long time because of a lot of reading. We haven't actually fought anything yet. What are you? That's an astral spike. But it looks like I'm going to have to head in. In that direction. Aha! You are too slow for me. Oh. What was the guy saying about blood on the foundation door? Oh no. That does not seem like a good way to go. Really, most of the ways to go in this game are not good ways to go. Really, most ways to go in general are probably not good ways to go, because that presumes someone has gone. Nobody really wants to go.
Creepy, damp, and abandoned. Why did Wake want me to come here?
That is not a good combination. Also, I just realized something. The way that this game is set up. Like, one of these days I'll remember how to access the map. The way this game is set up, in theory, the oldest house can be infinite in size. Like, they could continuously add more and more levels to the house. Let's investigate the bathrooms. Yeah, that seems like the thing to do. A shaded asset?
That doesn't look like a house shift.
Yeah, all the objects seem to be multiplying. And then immediately phasing out. This looks more like somebody's having a ton of, like if a modder had like a ton of fun just making a mod for the game. Or this means that there is an altered item that is nearby that is causing this, which itself can be very problematic because the altered items can be quite difficult. The camera in the last DLC took a whole bunch of tries, though the camera itself was on a track, so that did kind of create a very specific manner of fighting the camera, which was a little bit different from previous. This seems like there are folk. I see you. There you go. There you go. I need to remember that this is a very... Oh. A very mobile game. I definitely want to stay on my feet. There we go. And excellent. Thank you, ally of mine, for keeping me out of harm's way. That launch seems to just about almost kills. Ooh, nice. Yeah, that does seem problematic. The fact that the hiss are not only infecting the parts of the building which actually matter, but also the parts of the building that are abandoned, which is very problematic, especially when you consider the idea that there are parts of the building that have been abandoned that still contain dangers. How do I get inside here? I'm guessing there's another path. In the meantime... Oh. Hello. Oh. Alright. I'm not going to argue with that. Another shaded facet and vigorous dodging efficiency. There's also some reading material over here. Hartman arrest. Let's see. Charges: kidnapping of altered individuals, sanctions against altered offenders, property seized as evidence to be used in conjunction with ongoing AW investigation. Offenders' personal effects have been sent to research for analysis. After being cleared by Bureau researchers, all victims have been released. Biannual surveillance orders were assigned to each, except the Anderson brothers due to their senility, and Wake possibly deceased. Hartman was the psychiatrist, wasn't he? In Alan Wake? He was the guy who had written the book. But the thing that was not Hartman, so Hartman still ends up getting twisted by the darkness himself. Okay, I'm guessing the service tunnel is for the path forward. Oh, yep. Yeah, some guess. Yeah, nobody's using that couch anymore.
Whoa. Looks like the house has gotten a little wild in here.
A little bit. A little wild. Foot gossip. Is this gossip about the Foot Clan? My feet gossip at night, and now I have to wear shoes to bed. Sincerely, me. Right. Let us carry on.
This darkness is blocking the door, so now I have to deal with an interdimensional noise and sentient shadows.
Yes. Aim a powerful light source at the darkness to destroy it. Ah. So I do have to kind of combine
Makes sense.
Alan Wake-esque gameplay elements in my Control video game. Oh, wow. These guys died quite a while ago. If they're already skeletons. Although, to be fair, I don't actually know how fast a body decomposes into a skeleton. Huh. You know, I never figured out how to deal with these areas, these poison areas in the main game. If you have suggestions on how to deal with those, feel free to put them in the comments below. I have not taken the time to look those up. I would imagine they're not necessary for progress, but there might be interesting stuffs in there. Huh. I think I'm going to stop here for the night. It looks like Hartman is going to be around the corner. If you have any suggestions for something to play next, leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.